Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Top 10 Tuesday episode. This is episode 106, and for this week, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 personal favorite killer crocodile / alligator films. This is one that's been on my list for so long, and I just never did the list. Yeah, here it is. I gotta say, man, I love me some killer croc alligator films, man. There's a lot of fun ones out there. There's a lot of piss poor ones too. There's also a couple I've never seen before. I've never seen Alligator 2 before, and I've actually never seen the sequel to Tobe Hooper's before either, which is odd, you know, because I love these type of films. So, but without further ado, let's get right into this top 10 here. Coming in at number 10 is one from 1990. And it is, of course, Killer Crocodile 2. Yeah, this one right here is basically just a sequel to, like, capitalize on, I guess, the minor success of the first one. Yeah, Killer Crocodile 2 actually has a lot of kind of rehashed footage in it and stuff. And even the ending in this film is pretty much the same. But it's still really, really fun, man. Just like the first one, it's super, super fun. It's not the greatest storyline. This one, they're actually in the Caribbean this time, where this killer crocodile is taking out people, and of course, they have to figure out a way to stop it. It's pretty simple. Music's okay in the film. The effects, not too bad, but you can tell that what's his name? Yeah, DeRossi. He basically, I'm assuming he probably used a lot of footage from that he didn't use even from the first film too. I think a lot of the stuff that was used in this film was shot for the first one, but so they just decided that, hey, you know, if we just have to shoot 30% new stuff, we'll just put out a sequel for it. So, but Killer Crocodile is still pretty fun, you know, of course a practical croc in it and shit like that, so pretty fun. Definitely not as gory as the first one from what I remember, but yeah, still a fun film though. Ridiculous fun. Killer Croc. Gotta love these Italian Jaws ripoffs. So Killer Crocodile from 1990 in at number 10. In at number 9 is one from 2007, and it is called Prime Evil. This one is actually a pretty interesting flick. It's all set in Africa, about this kind of news team that goes to Africa to investigate this this huge fucking giant croc that's been taking out people in Africa. I believe it's in Africa anyways, I could be wrong, but yeah, but anyways, it's not a bad film. It's got a lot of story to it. It's kind of quirky at times, but it's actually pretty serious toned. It's got a lot of political elements to do with, you know, things that were going on there at the times and shit like that, and just a lot of those type of elements, those undertones are in this film and stuff. The croc itself, of course, is CG'd and stuff. It's not overly the best looking one in the world, but I have seen a lot worse. It's not too bad. There are some pretty laughable moments with some blood and shit. I just never understood the CG blood and stuff, but overall, it's actually pretty good though. I like this film in a sense. I heard someone call this film one time, it's like a serious version of Lake Placid. In a way, it kind of is. It's very similar in story and things like that. So, but yeah, just without the comedy elements to it. But Prime Evil, actually still pretty fun film. So, in at number 9, I enjoyed it. In at number 8, of course, is going all the way back to the year I was born in. I think this movie might have been released in 79. I don't know, 79, 80, somewhere in there. Sergio Martino's Alligator. Yes, just an absolute ridiculous film. You know, with these Italian Jaws ripoffs, man, it's just blatant fun. Ridiculous storylines. You got a lot of stock footage used in this one. There's footage used in this film I've seen in like 3 or 4 different films and stuff. But overall, it's a ridiculous, just fun ride of, you know, gore. The alligator looks fantastic in this. Some of the scenes in this film are just outrageously hilarious too. Like just the way the alligator actually attacks and things and what it's doing and shit is just so funny. But it's overall it's just a fun film. It's bad, but it's good. It's pretty fun stuff. So Alligator from Sergio Martino, who dipped into so many different types of genres, and you know, of course he had to do a Jaws ripoff too, but there's a glimpse of the alligator. The alligator is just it's just monstrous in this film. It's so funny. I didn't really go into the plot of it, but if you want to read that right there. But yeah, anyways, Alligator, super fun stuff from Sergio Martino. In at number 8, in at number 7 is, of course, the film I just actually mentioned. and that is Lake Placid with Oliver Platt. Bridget Fonda actually looks pretty damn cool in this film. Bill Pullman. Then we got, there's like a bunch of other people in this film too. What's her name? Directed by Steve Miner. And then, of course, we got, I totally spaced on her name right now. Totally spaced on her name. That's just like ridiculous. But anyways, directed by Steve Miner. Yeah, Lake Placid's just it's a fun, goofy, actually a really funny film. It's a really funny film that spawned like, I guess, 4 sequels now, which is quite ridiculous. But basically it's about this group of people like all kind of come together to try and stop this killer croc that's killing off people in this this lake in Maine. And yeah, so they're kind of bond together, and you know they got to stop this. But just a lot of ridiculous, a lot of silliness in this film, but really fun though, really fun stuff. So yeah, yeah, Steve Miner again. You know, Steve Miner with his direction, man, not too bad, not too bad. Probably mostly known for directing, you know, Halloween Part 2, and of course, what else? The H2O, which of course I'm not really the biggest fan of, but probably most famous for directing H2O or for Friday 2. But this is it's a quirky little fun film, man. I like Lake Placid. Good shit. So yeah, Lake Placid. In at number 7. In at number 6 is another one here from 2007, Aussie flick, and it is called Black Water. This one I actually really enjoyed. This was such a fun film. Apparently it's inspired by true events. Basically about this husband and wife, and I believe her younger sister. They take a kind of take this tour. They get a tour guide, and they go off on the side area of this swamp or whatever to do some fishing and shit like that, where this huge croc actually attacks their boat, capsizes them, kills the instructor, and now they are forced upon in the trees, and now it's just a game of survival with this huge croc hunting them down and shit. Fantastic stuff, man. Really good. Just a lot of really good intense scenes in this film. There's a lot of really cool things happening in this one. I just, if you were to put yourself in this position, it would be absolutely so shitty to be in this position. You feel so helpless. I mean, stuck in the trees with nothing but water below you. And yeah, just a lot of suspenseful scenes in this one, man. I really enjoy this one. Very simple premise, but very effective. So that's Blackwater. Really enjoyed that one. Good shit. And that was, of course, from 2007. In at number 6. Or in at number 5 here is actually another Aussie film, and of course it goes by the title of Rogue. This is a really fun film. Again, just a monstrosity of a croc in this one. Just absolutely ridiculous. Basically about these people that get stranded on this island, essentially, with this huge croc. It's kind of like a tour thing too, and now they got to fight against this croc to stay alive. It's ridiculous, man. The croc looks actually really good for a CG croc in this one. I gotta say, man, the effects were actually probably some of the best CG work I've seen in a film like this. Looks very good, especially for the times. I mean, 2007. I mean, it was probably, you know, there's always improving on CG, but looks really damn good even for that time. So good gore in this one, good suspenseful scenes and shit like that. But the scenery is fantastic, just like Blackwater. You know, I love these Aussie films. Are fantastic stuff. So, but yeah, Rogue. Yeah, really fun film. And at number 5, and at number 4 is keeping along that same tradition of these Aussie films. And we got Dark Age. Dark Age is a really awesome film, man, with John Jarratt, of course, went on to, you know, Wolf Creek fame and shit like that. He basically plays, he's kind of like a conservation officer. In a way, he's working towards trying to save these crocs and shit like that from extinction. So he's out there and he's, you know, doing his work and things like that. But of course, there's this huge croc on the loose that's actually starting to kill people. And, you know, his bosses and stuff are kind of forcing him to go and kill this thing. But he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because he's friends with the native tribes around there. And they believe that this huge croc is sacred. And so he's kind of stuck between this thing. And now you got this gang of poachers and hunters and shit that are on the trail. And, you know, he decides that they're going to try and save this thing. Give it to the natives and stuff, but of course you got these assholes trying to kill it and shit. So there's a lot of shit going on in this one. It's really good though, really good. I love the Croc, and the Croc's fucking massive in this shit. A lot of people's limbs get bit off and shit in this one, but it's a really well-made film, really good, really well acted. It's got a lot of course, political means and undertones in the film and shit like that too. So, but yeah, Dark Age, man, give this one a shot. It's really awesome. This is the Australian the Umbrella release of it, so you can pick this one up for really cheap. So, give it a shot. Really good stuff. And that, of course, was In at Number 4. In at Number 3 is Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive from 1976. Love this one. It's such a fun film, man. Just such a great cast in this one. My name is Buck, and I came to fuck, and I'm here to fuck, or whatever he says, man. Yeah, of course, Robert Englund. Yeah. Awesome. One thing I love about this film, man, is just the atmosphere of this film is just second to none. It was all shot on a soundstage, but they capture this atmosphere, this kind of claustrophobic atmosphere so well in this film, and it's so well acted. You know, it's one of those type of films that it's so 70s. It's very, very 70s and shit like that. Yeah, you really can't go wrong with this one. It's just such a fantastic film. I think this is honestly one of Tobe Hooper's best films. I mean, Tobe Hooper never really went on to have, you know, truly the greatest career. I mean, he's directed some good films, but he's directed a lot of subpar to average to shitty films and things like that. So, yeah, Eaten Alive, man, such a good film, such a good film. I love this one. I'd watch it all the time. And of course, that was number 3. In at number 2 is from 1980, and it is Alligator, starring Robert Forster. Yeah, I love this film, man. Basically, this one is about where this little baby alligator gets flushed down the toilet and starts living in the sewers. This little baby alligator starts feeding off of these test animals that this corrupt company has been pumping full of steroids and test drugs and things like that. Ultimately, it basically makes this alligator grow into a giant monstrosity, and you know, once it's done feeding in the sewers, it makes its way out of the sewers and starts to feed up on the lands and stuff because it's run out of food. But it's cool, man. Robert Forster, he's a cop in the film, and it's basically just an investigative type film to try and stop this alligator. Really good stuff, man. There's this one scene in this film that always cracks me up, man. It's literally one of the funniest things is when this fucking croc breaks through the manhole into the streets, and it just the way it happens, man, it's just like it's so obvious that the ground wasn't concrete. It just makes me laugh. But some really good tense moments in this one, man. Some, you know, people get gnarled up and shit like that. Pretty good. You know, but yeah, no baby killings. Like, I didn't mention that in Dark Age has this one really awesome scene in it where this baby actually gets gnarled right up. Not a baby, I guess like a 3-year-old or something like that, but it's pretty crazy, man. But yeah, Alligator, man, this is such a fun film. If you've never seen this one, check it out. This film needs a release. It needs to get a Blu-ray release. It's such a fun, awesome film. So, but yeah, still rocking my VHS and Lightning video. Yeah, what do you do? Got the film anyway, so. But that's number 2, and of course, in at number 1, I got to go all the way back up here for Killer Crocodile. Yes, I absolutely love this film, man. It's so much fun. It's probably not the best film on this list, but it's the most fun. It's purely a Jaws ripoff. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and it's just the same typical storyline of people. This Killer Croc's around, and you know, he's taking out people and shit. They gotta basically stop this killer croc before he eats everybody. But what separates this one is it's just a lot of fucking fun. It's just a lot of fun, man. These environmentalists is what they are. They're on vacation, or they're not on vacation. I think they're actually investigating some things, and they come to realize that the problem was a lot worse than they anticipated. So you follow like 4 or 5 of these characters and stuff, but it's awesome, man. There's some really good gore. I love the way the alligator or the croc looks in this film. He's huge, fantastic, really cool music in this one too. But the thing that saves this film from being one of those kind of subpar films is the end of this one is so damn funny. The way they get the crocodile in this film is just the funniest shit ever. It's kind of like one of those moments when you're watching a killer shark film and you're like, how the fuck did that explode? It's like one of those moments. But I mean, I guess it's kind of explainable in this one. I'm not going to say how they do it, but it's ridiculous. It's one of the funniest and funnest moments in in any of these films is great, man. But I have such a blast with Killer Crocodile. It looks really fantastic. So for the people out there that are wondering, this edition right here, it's a French edition. It's, you know, it's a real legit copy. It's got both films. This is actually the reversible art that has both. Both films are on one disc. That's the artwork that you'd see if you were to buy it. It has, of course, English audio, but the transfers are really good. They're in you know, anamorphic widescreen and shit like that. So really good stuff. But yeah, Killer Crocodile in at number 1, and that is going to do it for my top 10. Yeah, man, just a lot of limbs and a lot of blood and a lot of good-looking crocs in this one. There's another film that came out a few years ago, I think in 2007 or 6 or something like that. It was called Blood Surf. Actually kind of fun. The croc, it's kind of like that very almost typical sci-fi type CG in it, though. It's pretty bad, but kind of fun. But anyways, guys, like I said, that's going to do it for this episode. Let me know what your guys' favorite Killer Croc films are out there. And yeah, as usual, I'll check you guys later in episode 107, I believe it is. So